Okay, welcome everyone to Embodying Your Higher Self Tools for Living Consciously. My name is Michele, and today we have a very special show with my partner and dear friend Linzi Harrison, who will be joining us shortly. This is going to be a real free flow conversation today. So, we really invite the listeners who are listening in live to ask your questions and come in and participate and be a part of this conversation. So, welcome, Linzi. It's great to have you here.
Hi, Michelle. Hello from Bali. Sunny Bali, finally.
I know, I know. So, Linzi is in Bali, and I'm in Puerto Escondido, Mexico. It's the weather is pretty similar here, I think, as Bali right now. Although you said it's been raining a lot, is that right, Linzi?
Oh gosh, it's been raining for the past 2 weeks or so, so we finally have some sunshine.
Yes, yes, exactly. So, so how are you doing today? We have an interesting conversation about how to unlock your superpowers. Linzi's already been on the show. For those of you who may not have listened to her previous interview with me, Linzi is an amazing medicine woman. She facilitates both group and one-on-one plant medicine ceremonies, sacred ceremonies for people that are seeking to deepen their connection with their authentic self and heal trauma and even addictions. Plant medicine is pretty amazing. And I guess we'll start the conversation there since that's where we began. So tell us a little bit more about your experience with psilocybin, also known as magic mushrooms.
Oh gosh, I've been facilitating recently, and I've had quite some profound experiences with some of my clients. I think right now there's just a yearning for healing, and um, people are finding that the alternative ways of healing oneself is going much deeper now, and people are ready to seek out parts by trying new ways, if you like.
I'm laughing because there's this crazy Disney type music in the background, so I've unplugged the mic. Yes, please keep going, and hopefully that music won't be in the background of this podcast today. Go ahead, go ahead, Linzi.
um, I had a client just recently, and I found this really interesting that she said this. She's actually been in therapy, um, seeing a psychiatrist for the past 10 years, and she sat with the medicine, and she said that she gained more from her experience sitting with the medicine than she has having met with her psychiatrist for the past 10 years. She said everything just became so clear to her, and she was able to really connect and understand to certain issues that were showing up in her life. And I just found her words so powerful because, in a space of 2.5, 3 hours, she was able to unravel what she's been hoping to achieve in the past 10 years, speaking to someone for, I guess, she said the word validation and understanding, and she was able to get that all on her own just through the experience of psilocybin.
That's awesome, Linzi. And I think some people are really hesitant because they don't really understand how mushrooms work and why would they take this medicine, which is a psychoactive medicine that does actually have that impact on the brain. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is that in my research of psilocybin, and I know you know this as well, that psilocybin actually builds new neural pathways. And I don't know any over-the-counter medicine. I don't know of any that does that. And so you have people that are battling with mental health, like your client and my clients as well. And I actually got a message when I was away on my vacation, visiting my sons, that I said I would answer. And I answered it today just before the podcast. This person had said that she's really concerned about her ex-husband. She, even though they're not together, she really loves him and cares about him, but he's really battling with depression, and he's really suicidal, and the medicine is actually not working. And so she was asking me about whether what can he do. And she was talking about maybe him doing an ayahuasca ceremony or psilocybin. And of course, the answer is, if you're on any medicine that has SRI inhibitors, or, I'm not an expert um, in the brain, but I do know that there are a lot of medicines out there for antidepressant that are SRI inhibitors, I believe. And so, therefore, doing plant medicine won't work. So they literally have to get off the medicine for a good 6 months before they can take the plant medicine. And that's one of the things that I said in my message, that, he needs to explore doing spiritual work, doing in-depth healing, things like soul retrieval, things like clearing entities, closing portals. So I left this long message just before we got on this call. So I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add to that about your experience with working with people that have been on medicine. I don't know if you've taken them into ceremony or not.
Mm-hmm. I haven't actually taken anyone into ceremony that's on any antidepressants or whatnot. And I completely agree with you. I mean, you've got to begin the work. I've found that, especially in Western culture, they're very quick to prescribe the chemicals, but nobody's actually focusing on the root cause and encouraging people to do the work, do the healing. It can begin gently with talk therapy is so important, I agree. But at the same time, it's body, because we store so many of our emotions at a cellular level. And just to really begin to just get into the body, we're so trapped in our minds these days that I just feel that people just need to come back to the true essence of who they are and just really tap into the heart and the gut. And for me personally, I'm reading so much about gut health now and the importance, because our gut's being attacked, if you like, through all the processed foods, and it's where we store all our emotions, it's our intuition, it's our everything. And it's just really connecting back into our body as opposed to our minds, because our minds, at the end of the day, they don't really exist. They're thoughts and creations that we have associated with for forever and a day. And we need to learn to quieten the mind and really tap into our body.
Absolutely. And it's interesting that you brought up that, like, the mind, the brain gut connection, because I was listening to another podcast by a neurologist, and he was talking about how alcohol actually really messes up our biomes and the gut health. And unlike mushrooms, which creates the new neural pathways, alcohol actually damages the prefrontal cortex, the white and gray matter in the brain. And he was talking about this new study that even with moderate drinkers, and how he defines moderate drinkers, it would be people that drink about a glass of wine or a cocktail a day, 7 drinks in a week,
which could then, either be on a daily basis, 7 drinks, or over a weekend, is enough to damage the brain. And so when you hear about that, you're like, wow, why do we drink? Why do people choose that? Because we want to relax, we want to, escape our reality. And I think the problems are never really getting solved. But what I love about psilocybin is we're actually not escaping. We're going to a whole other level that gives us this higher perspective, that enables us to really heal and transform, which is incredible. And yeah, that's what I love about the medicine anyway. And it does help people that have addictions, and it helps people with depression. So yeah, it's one of the reasons why I do ceremonies as well. And one of the things we'll be offering in our upcoming incredible women's retreat here in Puerto Escondido for up to 7 women who are seeking to go to the next level, to really get unstuck, to change those negative belief systems and limiting beliefs and patterns that they haven't been able to do. They haven't found a way to get unstuck. And I feel like the psilocybin, along with some of the other things we're offering, are really going to help people to make that big shift, which is really exciting. Really exciting.
It's so exciting, 100%. And going back to that alcohol, I mean, that's alcohol. Taking chemicals is also doing the same thing. So anything's going to disrupt your frontal lobes and whatnot as well. So it's really, yes, just tapping into just your true essence and just facing your shadows. Like myself, I've been doing, a lot of healing myself over the years, and it's amazing what gets stored in the body that just needs to come to surface. And we're so lucky that we have so many incredible healers that are going to be helping facilitate on our retreat. But one of my most profound experiences that I've come across, and this is without the medicine as well, this was, I went to see an energy healer, and we were doing the work, and she was building me up to get me to cry. And I was going into an anger space. And I was like, I'm not going to cry. I don't need to cry. I'm not going to cry. And she's just like, just let go, just let go. And eventually I just began to sob and sob. And she caught the moment, because she's highly intuitive. She caught the moment and she said to me, she said, Linzi, I know, because I've never been a crier my entire life until now. And she said to me, I caught the moment when you were 9 months old, you were sat in a baby chair and you were crying, and your mum was busy and she was ignoring your cries. And that was the moment that you decided from that day forward, you wouldn't cry again, because no one was there to come to you when you needed them most. And you would just bottle it all up inside and take care of yourself. And it was so true. My mum used to say, you were such an amazing baby. You hardly ever cried. But it was that moment, 9 months old. And I've shifted that from my body through an energetic healing session. And it's softened me. It's made me more aware of my emotions, my feelings, and you just gain a deeper understanding. And that's what I'm saying. Everything's trapped within our bodies. So to do the work, and the way that you and I facilitate these ceremonies, like it's not just taking the medicine in like a clinical setting. We're also removing the energy blocks as somebody is going through their process. So it's removed, it's gone. And it's just such a powerful. I'm so passionate about our work, Michele.
Oh, yeah, me too. It is. It is. It's really incredible, and of course, our work is really guided by spirit. We're working with many amazing, high vibrational helping spirits that are coming to assist the people that we're facilitating the ceremony for. And I don't know if people know this, and I just want to welcome Essie. I don't know your nickname there, but Essie, welcome. You're more than welcome to come in live and ask a question at any moment. Just come on in, and I will accept you into the studio if you wish to do that. But yeah, one of the things that I was about to say is that the helping spirits, they utilize people like myself and Linzi because we've opened up as channels. And so that's why it's easier for them to come through people like us and other healers that do this work, and then come through us to help you. So it's really quite an amazing relationship that we have with our guides. And so for those of you who have never experienced that, I encourage you to investigate and learn more about how you can connect with your helping spirits as well, because they're here to be of service. They really want to help us, but they need us to open up and ask for their help. And so this is part of what occurs in the ceremony, is they come through us and they work through us to help you to shift and release that trauma, release the energy blockages, and to be able to access your truest and purest potential. And it is really profound and beautiful work. And I feel often very humbled and so honored to be able to do this work with you, Linzi. You know, it's just, we have this kind of magical relationship that happens when we're working together. So it's really, really wonderful. Yeah, really wonderful.
It sure is. Very, very blessed and honored to
Yeah,
facilitate.
yeah, it
And be
really
of
is.
service, just to be of service, to help women step into their true power, their true potential. You know, we get stuck up in all this societal conditioning and belief systems that are not our own, and it's just coming back to your true self, your true worth. And you know, at the end of the day, everything comes down to self-love. That's the healing, giving back to ourselves. And once we step into our power, we have so much more to give to others.
Yes, absolutely. And I think a lot of women, and I know this is a generalization, but it's pretty true, we tend to overextend ourselves, and we give and we give and we take care of our families or our partners or our friends, and we let the cup run dry, and then there's nothing left for ourselves. And I call out to all of you women who've done that, you know, to come and experience this incredible retreat and really give yourself the gift of being nurtured and healed and pampered. It's in an incredible energetic place here in Puerto Escondido. The villa is right on the beach, overlooking the ocean. I've been in the villa a few times, and it's really quite incredible, really magical place to be holding this retreat. So I'm really excited to have this offering for women, this invitation to come and really take care of yourself. So yeah, I'm really happy about that, and I'm ready, and I know you're ready. You're ready, and this will be your first time to
We're
come to.
all ready. We're all ready. It's so exciting.
It is. It's so exciting, and so I wanted to. This is a bit of a interesting shift, but I want to bring this up because it came up in my shamanic mentoring class today. I also, Linzi knows that I mentor students in shamanism, and one of the students asked. It was the last class for this group, and he asked, can you speak to what's happening with the rapid sort of evolution of technology and the AI that's coming in, and how can shamanism help people come back and return to who they truly are, to their authentic self, with all that's. I'm getting chills as I repeat that question, but because it's real. I mean, and I'm not saying that all AI is bad. We can use AI to write for us. We can, you know, uh, talk to Alexa and ask her to find something on Google or play a certain song. Um, there's a lot of other examples of AI that I won't go into that are beneficial, but there are other AIs that are not. And I'll give an example of something I admit I watch Netflix from time to time, and there's a new show called Fake Love. And I was just curious, like, what is this show about? Like, so I clicked on it, and I was like, "Holy moly!" I was shocked because what it is they're using AI to distort the reality so that when one of the people in the partnership watches a video, they don't know whether their partner is really cheating on them or if it's fake, because they're using AI to create fake scenarios. And I'm like, wow, if
Wow,
I'm
that's
like,
frightening.
that is so frightening. And it really, and it's frightening because the generation your children are growing up in, and my youngest is growing up in, they're growing up in this reality that is not real. They're
I
getting
know.
tricked by this artificial intelligence. And he used the term, which I had never heard before, but it made a lot of sense, that people's brains are being harvested. And it kind of gives me chills as I say that. So it goes back to the whole idea of why shamanism, or why practice these, what is a very ancient spiritual practice. It goes back more than, I think it's like 75,000 years actually, that shamanism goes back. But what I'm finding is people are losing touch with reality. People don't know how to ground anymore. They don't know how to discern what is false and what is true. They're getting more and more lost and confused. And what we're bringing into this retreat, and what shamanism offers, is this opportunity for people to really find who they truly are, to remember um, their true essence. And now more than ever, with all of this technology, we really, really need to return to these simple practices that help us to tap into our authentic self. And I feel like this retreat will give people those tools to remember who they truly are. Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, really.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to come back into the body and out of the mind, because it's your intuition. Like, if something doesn't feel right inside, it's not right. And if it feels right, it's right. It's everything is a feeling. The mind is just your ego. It's a noise. But in our truth, it's a feeling. We feel everything. We feel our emotions. We feel sadness. We feel happiness. We feel anger. But you need to be in your body, because if something doesn't sit right within your body, it's not right. And therefore you need to take a step back. And this is, it's coming back. That's your power center, just really listening to your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so important. And I think people have lost touch with that. Like, how do I trust myself again? How do I know
Yes.
that my gut
Yes.
is telling me the truth? And I believe that the more that we connect in with our higher self and we do this kind of spiritual work, it's like we're reclaiming those lost aspects of ourselves, and then we begin to remember who we truly are. And it's it's uh, it's interesting because I when I was thinking about how to title this podcast, we've been talking about how to unlock your superpowers, and this is key to unlocking your superpowers. Is you have to know who you truly are to be able to unlock your superpowers. You have to.
You must, for sure. Yes, for sure.
So tell us what are some of your superpowers? Let's give some people examples. I know I put you on the spot, but I think it's okay. Don't worry.
Oh, you really have put me on the spot now. I don't know how to list them. I'm so much more aware. Even, obviously I'm on social media and with my children and everything, but it's just the knowing, and it's so hard to explain how that works because I've been doing a lot of like my own work, and the more and more work that I'm doing, it's just a knowing.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to articulate it because it's a knowing, it's a feeling, and I'm saying it to my children now. I'm just like, you really just need to be more aware, why you're feeling this way and what's triggering it, what's being triggered inside you that's upsetting you so much, and just listen to yourself through your body. Like, don't make stories in your mind because they're not real. They're all false illusions. It's an inner knowing. And the more you know, it almost leads to epiphanies, constant epiphanies, because you're just like, oh, I understand why she behaved that way at this moment, and I understand why I was feeling upset and why it was triggered within me, and all these things. It's a knowing.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that, having that knowing. And I'm going to say what I think some of your superpowers are.
Please do.
I think that with that knowing, you're able to tap into people's higher selves and unlock their ability to tap into their knowing.
Yes.
Wow. Yes, I think so. I think that's an incredible superpower, and I love that about you. And I think it's such a gift that you can facilitate that for people. That you can do that for people, and it's not a small gift. It's definitely a superpower.
Thank
But
you. I know. I'm so grateful and so blessed.
yeah, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, and I don't know. What would you say my superpower? I think it's probably better we tell what each other's superpowers are, because it's hard to say it about yourself. What do you think are my superpowers?
The very same and more. You are an incredible teacher, mentor. You're mine.
Aw.
And you're just here to shine your light and really give the gift, like you said, of bringing people back to their true essence and understanding, and being able to offer explanations to certain, there is no university of the spiritual school, if you like. And so you're able to offer such incredible guidance and just a deeper level of understanding and support. And you're an incredible shaman.
Oh my God! I feel like I'm blushing now. I feel. Thank you so much. That's
I mean,
really. That's really sweet. Thank you.
I don't know if our listeners know, but Michele was my teacher and she's my mentor and she's my everything and incredible business partner as well. And you brought my gifts to light.
Oh, wow. Well, I just I just woke them up. You already had the gifts, and you for sure you've come so far. I mean, I don't think of you as my student at all anymore. You know, you're definitely already becoming such a master shaman in your own right. And that's what I want for all my students who've worked with me. Like, I get excited, you know, and some of the students I've worked with have so surpassed me, you know, and they're doing high level things, and I'm like, wow, it's pretty amazing. And I just I feel really blessed that this is, it's not even a job. It's my life purpose, you know, like living my life purpose, that we can have that opportunity to do what we love and live our purpose is such a blessing. Yeah. Such a
Oh
blessing.
gosh, it's such a blessing. And it is, it's just a true passion. Like I get so excited when women just like come into their own, women and men, but when they really just get that aha and they just become the powerful people that they are and just spreading the light onto the world. Like we said, you know, by healing yourself, you're the catalyst to heal others. And it's so true because it's just it's a ripple effect and everybody around you. I mean, in my own family, you know, everybody, because of the way that I am now and the way that I react and I respond, and I've changed. And they say that there is this expression that, you know, people don't change, and I was like, I don't believe that for a second. I was like, if you do the work, you really change into something more incredible than you can ever imagine. And if I look at myself from, you know, 10 years ago, I'm a changed person. Like I've realized the purpose of being of service, and, you know, we're here to connect with each other and help each other and guide each other. And it's such a gift, such a
It,
gift.
it is such a gift. It is. And I think for me, you know, I think doing these women's retreats like we're doing, it's, I think the reason why, I think both of us, but I don't want to speak for you, but the reason why did we choose to work with just women for this retreat? And I think a lot of it goes back to, you know, when we look back at history, and I mean ancient history, like go back to the time of, you know, the Lemuria and the goddesses, and how those, you know, there was a time when the feminine, you know, goddesses were ruling and had this power, and all of their temples were destroyed, and they're divested of their power. And another thing my student said today, and he's a guy, which I loved what came out of his mouth today, is it is time for us to rise in the feminine power. The masculine power has not served us. It's only served to destroy this planet. And it's time now to return to that feminine power. And it doesn't necessarily mean that women are better than men. I'm not making that kind of distinction. I'm talking about the feminine power and the qualities of that, the compassion, the ability to access your emotions and express your emotions. Like he was saying, he wanted to inspire other men to be able to be vulnerable and to be able to speak about their emotions rather than going to a bar, going to a toxic situation where they have to get so drunk and effed up before they can let down their guard and share what they're really feeling. And
Yes.
so that's what I mean by, and I think that's what he meant by that it's time to make this shift into this feminine power. And this is why I feel even more inspired to work with women, because some women have gone off track a bit and they've gotten really in heavily into that masculine energy, and they've forgotten how to embody that beautiful feminine goddess energy. And so this retreat also provides that opportunity for them to remember that divine goddess energy within them and to return to that, which is really beautiful.
That is so beautifully said, and it's definitely what is happening in this world right now. We need to bring forth the feminine energy, and like you said, the vulnerability from both sexes, and just really, yeah, step in and support each other. And as the women, we have the power to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it was no accident that I had two sons, and I feel like I've been doing everything I can in my power to teach them about these things. And it isn't easy because there's so much conditioning from society. And my student was talking about that, like, you're a wimp if you cry. Don't be anybody's bitch. I mean, even the languaging of a man showing his vulnerability.
Yeah.
He's weak. He's somebody's bitch. I'm just like, wow, this is not serving us, to be in that kind of negative mindset about what it means to be embodying or embracing that divine feminine power. So I think this work is really, really important for sure.
For sure, Michelle. And obviously this, it really affects health. And when people are bottling up their emotions and suppressing it, it has to manifest in some way. And unfortunately it goes with our health. And the more stressed we are by, holding on to things, it shows up in ways, through heart attacks and
Yes.
disease and cancers and so many. It just shows up in the body, and it needs to be addressed because it's just repressed emotions. And
Yes.
we need to fix this and it also affects our, the midlife crisis, if you like, because so many people are at this point where they're suppressing, and they're doing jobs that they're not happy in, and they're going through the motions, and they get to midlife and they have a burnout, or even more so, a stroke or whatever. Like, the body is talking to you and it's saying, now you need to sit and just take time out and go into what is it that you want, not doing it for society, not doing it for anyone else, but really stepping back in and just exploring these healing modalities and just letting things go, because it does manifest in poor health.
Yeah, it's true. It is. And I look at my mother right now. Sadly, she has dementia and she has a whole host of physical issues. And I remember years and years ago, she was going to a therapist. And see, my mother is an incredible coper, so she's good at kind of fooling people. And the therapist said, "Oh, you seem to be coping really well. You could delve into these issues of traumas in your childhood, but you really don't have to, since you seem to be doing fine." And that had to be the worst advice that a therapist ever gave anybody.
I love
because,
it. Coping is the word.
Yeah. I was just like, wow. And then it was after that she started having all these health problems. And, she had to have a partial hysterectomy. She had, all kinds of problems. And I looked at that and I remembered thinking, I am not choosing to inherit those ancestral patterns. I am not choosing to live my life in that way where I'm going to suppress my emotions and make myself sick. It's almost like I just made this huge decision in that moment. And I'm happy to say I don't have any female problems at all. I don't have, and I pray I don't get dementia. And yeah, I think we have to be willing to look at these traumatic experiences that in our lives and deal with it, because otherwise it does catch up to you and you start having health issues for sure. It does. Yeah.
For sure. And like I said, with my experience with an energy healer, I mean, I never cried. Like I was really suppressing a huge emotion. And now in my mid 40s, I've learned crying is healing. Like it's
Yeah.
really just letting your emotions flow through you and just sitting with it rather than holding it, because my go-to was anger always. And it, you know, by being angry, you're putting stress through your body and it gets you sick at the end of the day. You know, there's going to be a point that anger has become so strong that I could manifest, it could be a heart attack at the end of the day. But just to soften and just really honor those emotions. And we talk about trauma. That was trauma for me as a 9-month-old baby. When people hear the word trauma, they think it's, you know, really, you know, a horrific, terrible thing. But, you know, it was
Yeah.
something so small. I just decided at that moment, no more tears. But those tears would have served me so much throughout my lifetime. But I chose to cut it
That is,
off. And that's trauma, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
That's trauma for a baby.
Mm.
It's funny because I had a similar experience um, that I found out about because I went to a healer as well. And he said, something happened to you. Well, when you were in your mother's or womb, and it was in the second trimester, that is connected to your depression. And I was like, what, really? And I asked my mother, and I said, what was going on for you when you were carrying me in your second trimester? Can you remember? And she thought about it for a moment, and she said, oh, I was grieving the death of your brother because I had a second brother who had died before I was born. I was depressed about that. So she literally transferred that depression to me. And all my life growing up through my teens, I had no understanding of why did I have this depression? Why was I always sad? And until I went to that healer in Bali. And that was the beginning of my healing of the depression.
Mm.
That was not even mine. So now we're getting into, you know, how particular ailments and conditions can actually be transferred to us in vitro or transgenerational, which is a big word that seems to be coming up now. You know, that there's patterns or ways of thinking, belief systems, behavioral patterns that are actually passed through our ancestral line. And the reason why we're not able to sort of tackle those issues is because they're so deep, you know, they go far back in time and in space. And so by getting spiritual healing, going into medicine ceremonies, this is how we can access this transgenerational trauma and other traumas and heal rapidly, which is pretty amazing, actually. It's pretty amazing.
It truly is. And I say it to my clients all the time. I was like, when you step up to do this healing work, you are not only healing yourself, you are healing the past, the present, and the future. And it ends with us because we work on these generational loops and
Yes.
we do things because, you know, I find myself as a mother, sometimes I'm saying things to my children and my children like to question me a lot. And I'll say things and they'll be like, but why do I have to do that? And I'll be like, oh my gosh, you actually don't. That's just something that I've inherited from the way that I was brought up. And it's probably what my mum learned from her mum. And I was like, we're living in a different world now and it has to change. And when we step up and do this work, you're just so consciously aware and you're like, actually, no, that doesn't make sense. I get it. Thank you for questioning me, because you don't have to. Let's find a better way.
Yeah, that's a great point. And you just didn't even realize that that was a program that you
Yes.
were, that you were running, and then you were just, spewing out the same crap that your parents.
Well, exactly. It's going through the motions. You're just doing things just cause. But actually, it doesn't really make any sense when you look at it with a more conscious awareness. And you're like, no, let's start something new. We can do it
Yeah,
differently. We don't need to do it like that anymore. Because we're
absolutely.
living in a completely different timeline now to the way that, even our childhoods, it's completely different, and we need to change to bring in the next generations, and they need to see the
Yes,
changes, and they need to be seen that they can access these changes. And we're not going to repeat patterns over and over again anymore. Like, it's done now. When you step up to do this
absolutely.
work, it's done. We're moving
Absolutely.
forward. We're not stuck in the past.
I love it. I love it. I'm just wondering, before we close the show, is there any kind of tool or practice that you can recommend to our listeners that will help them tap into their inner knowing more, to return to who they truly are? Is there something that comes to mind that you want to share about that?
Oh, wow. On the spot there. I'm just thinking of all my practices, and it's going blah, blah, blah through my mind.
That's
Um,
okay.
Moving the body is so
Yeah.
important in any which way that feels good for you. My personal preference is yoga, and I've tapped into a deeper understanding of yoga and how we are able to just shift energy with it, set the intention just to move energy through your body, to really, when you're in a situation with somebody and you are faced with something and it's triggering you, just really, instead of wanting to blame or be angry or play victim or whatever, just question yourself as to why it's hurting you. Because we it's that's where your trauma is. Because we
Yeah.
can be in a situation and somebody could say something to you and it could really offend you, whereas for me I wouldn't even bat an eyelid, if you like. And it's questioning, and why am I feeling this way? Why am I so triggered? Like, really. And just sitting with your emotions, like, some days you wake up, you feel incredibly happy. Other days you wake up, you feel sad. And just think, okay, I feel sad today. That's allowed. What is it in me that is like bringing, just keep questioning
Yeah.
and
That's really good advice. Yes.
and changing the mindset of, why is this happening to me? Why does this always happen to me? Like, really step into, okay, what do I need to learn from the way I'm feeling right now? And what is this teaching me? It's really just shifting this mindset. And, it takes practice with these things, because it's something that we've not really been taught to do. It's almost like we're having to unlearn everything we've ever been taught and relearn. It's like reparenting ourselves and just really taking care of ourselves and just allowing, we're not being selfish as mothers or, friends or whatever by just taking quiet time, but just really honoring everything that you're feeling. Because if you can honor and just question it, you can actually just shift it just like that, because you have an understanding.
Wow, beautiful. You brought to mind these 4 questions that I'm writing in the comments, which are questions that I learned from Access Consciousness that help with the whole mindset thing. So you start by asking, what is this? What do I do with this? Can I change this? And if yes, how can I change it? And those questions are really helpful as well. I find that it gives you pause, almost like to kind of step out of the moment and really observe, what is this? What's going on? And what do I do with this? And can I change it? And if I can, how do I change it? And if I can't, then can I accept what's occurring in my life? So those are some great questions that I wanted to share with everybody as well. So that's what I use. That's one of my tools.
Yes.
One amongst many tools. So, well, I just want to thank everyone for coming and listening in to our conversation about everything from plant medicine to superpowers to mental health and all kinds of things. And I hope that all of you enjoyed today's podcast. Remember to follow and like my show. And please, if you'd like more information about our upcoming retreat, visit omkarahealingretreats.com. And I'll put that in the description. I think I already did put it in the description of the show. Please reach out to us. Get on a free call with either myself, if you're in North America or Central America. There's a link to book a Calendly call with Michele. Or if you're in Australasia, which is Australia and Southeast Asia, then click the link for Linzi and book a free call with Linzi. And we'd love to tell you more about our program. We do have a special early bird price. If you sign up really soon, you'll get the special discount. But more importantly, this is an opportunity for you to really love and nurture yourself in a beautiful villa overlooking the ocean with amazing healers, massages, breath work, sound healing, temescal, and so much more. So we hope you can join us. It's September 23rd through the 29th here in Puerto Escondido, Mexico. So thank you so much, everyone, and have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Thank you so much, Linzi, for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Absolute honor. I am so excited. So excited to hold space for these 7 incredible women. And I'm so excited. I'm beaming right now.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Lots of love and blessing. Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.